Oh, I'm live. Okay. All right. It's already 10. It's almost 10. Almost 10. So, okay, I'm live today. This is for the first time this month, March, that I'm live in March. For the first time. But hopefully, we're gonna talk about a lot of things today. On va parler de beaucoup de choses aujourd'hui. Je vais utiliser le créole haïtien pour ce live. Déjà, bonsoir à tous et à toutes. Je suis Ral Valentino Jean, comme vous le savez déjà. Aujourd'hui, on va parler de la Genèse, la généalogie de la Bible, la généalogie de manière scientifique, de manière, je dirais, philosophique et même spirituelle, pour ne pas dire religieuse. Donc aujourd'hui, on va utiliser le créole et l'anglais pour vous expliquer certaines choses sur des recherches que j'ai effectuées durant peut-être, je dirais, plus que 4 mois déjà. J'ai travaillé sur l'usage de la pensée chrétienne dans l'Occident à travers les siècles et surtout le fondement de cette idéologie, si vous voulez, ou cette perspective, ou cette philosophie, on peut le dire comme ça. Alors déjà, si vous ne comprenez pas l'anglais, donc ça va être un petit peu difficile, même si je vais utiliser beaucoup de créole dans le vidéo, mais en fait, je vais utiliser tout simplement les deux langues, le créole et l'anglais. Juste avant de commencer, vous voyez, j'ai un document avec moi, donc ça c'est la Bible. Ce livre-là m'a été légué par un ami, un grand ami, qui s'appelle Tom. C'est un docteur. Il a un doctorat en médecine. Donc, il a étudié à l'université de Michigan aux États-Unis. C'est un très bon ami, déjà. Donc, on va avoir un live, une conversation en direct avec lui sur Facebook très prochainement. Et j'espère pouvoir parler avec lui sur beaucoup de choses, sur le développement de l'infection, coronavirus, et puis d'autres choses. Déjà, c'est lui qui m'a légué ça, celui-là en 2018, je crois, durant une séance de traduction à mon hôpital, à Port-au-Prince. Donc j'étais un interprète dans cette organisation-là. Donc on m'a demandé de faire une petite comment dire, de faire une sorte de traduction ou d'interprétation de la Bible de manière très philosophique et très très scientifique, de la langue anglaise à la langue au créole haïtien. Donc ça c'est la Bible. Donc je ne suis pas un théologien ou quoi, mais on va parler de manière scientifique, littéraire, philosophique de ce livre, ok, which is the Bible, ok, la Bible. Qu'est-ce que c'est? I remember when I was like I was 18 at the time. Yeah, I was 18. Je me souviens lorsque j'avais 18 ans ou 17 ans. J'étais en classe de philo, yeah, 17 ans, 18 ans, 17 ans. Donc, j'ai demandé à quelqu'un quelle est la définition de the Bible. What is the Bible? I said that in English. It was yeah. You know what he said? He said that the Bible is basic. It's like an acronym. I still remember these things till now. He said that the Bible is basic information before leaving Earth. Basic information before leaving Earth. Basic information before leaving Earth. That's the Bible, right here. It's like the guy take the Bible itself as an acronym. Not talking about the evolution, the linguistic evolution, l'évolution linguistique de ce terme, Bible, du latin, du grec, généros, etc., biblios, etc., qui veut dire librairie, c'est-à-dire un ensemble de livres. The guy told me basic information before leaving Earth. Des informations de base avant de partir pour l'au-delà. Donc, ça, on doit connaître avant que vous mouriez. Okay? Soit ça, on doit connaître avant que vous mouriez. C'était en 2012, en 2013, 2012-2013, oui. Donc, il m'a dit ça. J'étais très surpris, là, on me dit, bah, comme ça, me déprendre, comment ça, et par auquel tout, I've dit basic information before leaving Earth. At that time, I was very eager to learn English. Hein, mon anglais était très ardent. J'ai étudié l'anglais tous les jours, en fait. Là, elle dit ça, exactement, définition de la Bible et basic information before leaving Earth. Je travaille sur définition ça, m'étudier définition ça, me connais définition ça, et me penser que la Bible exactement c'était un acronyme tout. De penser dès qu'on parle de la Bible, c'est basic information before leaving Earth, c'est-à-dire information de base que monde connaît, un haïtien, un américain, un français, un japonais, un italien, etc. Avant que vous partiez, avant que vous quittez. Et c'est pas ça qui c'est, on peut dire, l'existence de l'être. En fait, moi qui te dis mes formations, ce qui est bonne information ça, je ne vais pas me dire c'est un idiot, mais quand même c'est un, d'une part c'est un ignorant. Dans le domaine ça, dans le domaine connaissance du réel, on peut dire ça comme ça, ou du moins de la religiosité. He's an ignorant of religiosity or spirituality, la spiritualité en général. Alors, I'm not an expert on the Bible, but I've been reading the Bible for more than 3 or 4 years now. Still reading the Bible. It's a fantastic book, the Bible itself. Very interesting book. Today I'm going to begin a series of discussion on the Bible itself. I'm going to present you my understanding of the Bible, what the Bible is, what the Bible isn't, and what I have learned through my studies in the Bible. I have a couple of notes that I take from all my readings. I'm going to open them for you to see, like classes that I've been taking, like books that I've been reading. Okay. Right here. Yeah. You see religious studies, right? You see religious studies. Then you see Thomas Romer, and then you see a woman. She has a PhD from Yale University. She's also one of my teacher. I read her book, okay, which is about the Bible. And then you can see that there's a bunch of notes right here, bunch of notes that I've taken, okay, bunch of notes about the use of the Bible. Today, what we're going to do, we're going to begin a series of videos that I'm going to upload. I usually upload videos on like Saturday and Sunday. Today is Thursday. As I'm free today, I decided to upload this video, okay? Décidé upload vidéo ça jeudi parce que comme je me sens bien et puis je ne suis pas tellement fatigué, donc décidé upload vidéo ça. Mais généralement, je upload vidéo sur Facebook live, c'est samedi, dimanche, ok? Ça m'a beaucoup plus libre, moi publier vidéo ça. Donc aujourd'hui, nous allons parler pendant quelques minutes sur la Bible, mais nous allons parler de manière très spirituelle et très philosophique et très très scientifique, ok? Nous allons des auteurs qui nous allons interroger et nous allons donner quelques réponses, éléments des réponses de l'auteur Sao. Et puis, il y a quelques autres activités qui nous gagné pour nous faire. Donc, je viens de commencer à mettre base dedans. Mais avant de mettre base dedans, je vais entrer dans l'origine. Je vais quitter l'origine et Bible pour l'autre vidéo parce qu'il est beaucoup plus long, etc., etc. The origin of the Bible is going to be longer. So I'm not gonna have time to cover all that today because I'm not gonna spend a lot of time today. It's already 9:41, 41, yeah. So I'm not gonna have a lot of time to cover everything about the origin of the Bible. So I think that I'm going to talk about something else today, and I'm gonna leave the origin of the Bible for another day. Okay? Donc on va laisser l'origine de la Bible, ok, pour un autre jour. Donc, jeudi on a commencé d'emblée avec quelques idées de vrac, idées générales, quelques idéologies autour de la Bible. Donc, généralement, un peu le monde cap là, dès que m'a parlé de la Bible, mon cap dit bon, c'est des livres des livres. Ça c'est un plus gros et problème ou du moins si un plus gros cliché que nous entendons dès qu'on parle de la Bible, on dit bon, la Bible c'est le livre des livres. Donc, il y a quand même une vidéo dans ces livres que tout l'autre livre inspiré d'eux-mêmes. Pas seulement la Bible. Il y a le taoïsme, il y a je lis le taoïsme ici, il y a le livre de Zen, il y a le Coran, il y a tout ça. Il y a tout type de livres ça qui parlent de réel, tout type de livres ça qui parlent de réel, qui parlent d'existence, qui parlent de manière métaphysique, comment qu'il y a un fonctionnement, ou du moins, et ça, vie en général. Donc, le livre ça, on a senti que tout le livre a découlé de eux-mêmes, parce que le livre ça parlait d'existence. Okay? These books that are about existential things and metaphysics and the basic of humanity and the mean of civilization. You tend to see that these books are the books of the other books, which means that these are the books that you can say that these books, they give, like most of the other books, some of the pieces of information that you're going to find from the other books, they basically shifted. They are shifted in a different way in these spiritual books. Why that? Why is that? There's a really great answer to that. It's because these books, they are talking about the ground of being itself, at least the human being, okay, the being, the very basic fabric of humanity, the very basic fabric of mankind. So these books, let's say, what is it? The Zen civilization, the Quran, Advaita of Dante, the Bible, the Towers and Test, Confini, the test from the Chinese philosopher. These texts are basically about existence. Okay, they are talking about existence. They are talking about what it takes, what it took. Okay, a bunch of people, different time lags. Okay, how they overcame the existential threats in their lives, and there's a narratives. Okay, il y a une littérature. Ok, tout autour de cette philosophie-là. On peut appeler ça la Bible. C'est un livre littéraire en fait. It's a literary book. It's a philosophical and a literary book. It's not a, how would I say? It's not a book where everything is answered, as a lot of people pretend it to be. No, it's not. Okay? It's not that. So the Bible is a book, like all the other books, written in different styles with different authors. Like the very first part of the Bible, which is the Pentateuch, which is composed of 5 books: Genesis, Exodus, Deuteronomy, Number, Genesis, Deuteronomy, Number. The 5 first books of the Bible, which is the Pentateuch. It is said, it is traditionally ascribed to Moses as the author of this book. Whereas my deep learning, like a lot of people are gonna say it's Moses. Even in a lot of books, you're gonna say it's Moses. If you listen to a fundamental Christian, they're gonna say it's from Moses. But Moses, to a lot of philosophers, to a lot of people that are trying to shed light on this document, it was not written by Moses. It was not written by Moses. By whom was it written then? some people said that it was written by a bunch of people, that they ignore the identities. Okay, okay, and it's not scientifically proven that Moses wrote these books. Okay, theologians try to ascribe the book to Moses for different reasons. So the Bible is not a bad book. It's a fantastic book if you know how to read it. It has a lot of wisdom in it. And I'm telling you that if you're reading the Bible and then you shift the ideological perspective, and then you use the philosophical, the spiritual perspective, I guarantee you that you're going to find a lot of stuff there. And trying to read through the metaphors, right? The metaphors, because there are a lot of metaphors in the Bible. If you're trying to read through the metaphors in the Bible, okay, then you'll be able to have a lot of wisdom. Donc, si vous avez métaphore qui gagne dans la Bible, ou ka essayer changer perspective idéologique qui gagne là-dedans, qui fait un peu le monde aveugle, ok? Perspective idéologique ça qui fait un peu le monde aveugle, aller, etc. Monde peur de viol, monde peur de monde qui ont l'autre, monde pas vraiment une définition pour ça, ou les divin, divinité, etc., etc. Et puis, ou après des mondes, moi, j'aime faire expérience des spirituels, j'aime faire expérience du réel, en fait. Donc, on va gagner du mal pour vraiment comprendre la Bible. On va toujours appliquer la Bible de manière idéologique. Mais en fait, la Bible, c'est sous même piédestal avec Coran, Bible. C'est même piédestal. Ils utilisent un autre langage pour un autre type de peuple. Okay? Un autre perspective, un autre réalité qui crée. Parce que généralement, le réel est là. On crée le réel. Pour qui ça que, généralement, nous avons un exemple qui est très banal. Okay? Par exemple, on passe son côté là. So you're passing by somewhere and you happen to see something, and the same person was in the same place, was basically exposed to the same reality to you, did not see what you saw. Right? That's why there's according to Oscar Wilde, this Great Britain writer, British writer, Oscar Wilde, he said that to look at and to see is two different things. You can be looking at something, you don't see anything, whereas somebody can just spend like a few seconds and see a lot of things. Okay, when somebody is watching, let's say somebody is basically watching this live now, watching this video that I'm basically doing. Some people might see that I'm doing this video. They see that somebody is talking, and there's a lot of there's a reality there because somebody's using language to talk about something that is very important. But nevertheless, there's not a reality there for me because I don't understand the language. I'm not patient enough, or he's not. Let's say he's not basically talking about something that can elevate me. Okay, so you're not gonna find your reality there because you already have your mind set for something else, for someone else. Your reality is elsewhere. Your reality is not here. Okay, so what we basically do with our mind is that we're trying to select. Okay, select part of reality, which suits us, we need for our survival. Okay, and then we ignore other parts of reality. And this is basically something that you find in the language itself. Like I'm a professional master of languages, know how language works, and the capacity for human beings to interact through linguistic codes. According to one of studies in the United States in the 19th century, is that 19th century to 20th century, they found, especially in the label of ethnolinguistics field, they found that with language, what people do, they create reality. It's not just they just perceive reality through the linguistic code that we use, but they create reality with it. They also when they create the reality, they also value part of that reality and ignore another part of the same reality, right? So you see, there's a lot of stuff right there. But I just want to tell you that what I'm going to be saying is I'm going to sound a lot of very, very, very metaphysical, okay, and philosophical, okay. À travers des débats qui a fait quelques minutes ensemble avec moi, nous allons entendre un petit peu très philosophique et très métaphysique, c'est-à-dire et métaphysique et philosophique, c'est-à-dire c'est débarrasser nous des idéologies, c'est tout simplement ça, okay. It's to discard ideologies. Philosophy and metaphysics is to discard ideologies like belief system, okay, prejudices, discriminations, okay. Donc c'est débarrasser nous des idéologies de discrimination, préjudice et puis tout cliché, idée reçue, tout ça. C'est-à-dire, c'est pas ça qu'on toujours dit là que vous mettre en valeur, c'est ça qu'on toujours dit là qui va le lien, quelle est la véracité du discours, ok, de l'autre ou des mondes qui étaient tout ça avant, qui véracité le gain, ok. Donc, je dis, on va parler de qualité spirituelle biblique, comme nous avons pour parler de Coran, nous avons parler de la philosophie du taoïsme et d'autres philosophies, par exemple le zen. On peut parler aussi de la philosophie de Advaita Vedanta, on peut parler de la philosophie confucianus. Il y a d'autres philosophies qu'on peut interroger, okay? En spiritualité, en philosophie, de manière pas théologique, mais scientifique, philosophique et métaphysique. Tout d'abord, la Bible, c'est un livre qui parle du réel. Yeah, the Bible is a book that talks about reality. Yeah, it talks about reality. The Bible is not a book written by a cloudman in the sky, which has a white beard, that is watching over us. Okay? La Bible n'a pas été écrite par quelqu'un, un homme généralement, c'est très sexiste d'ailleurs, qui se trouve en haut, qui essaye de nous donner des cordes morales pour vivre. Non. La Bible, c'est un document humain. C'est un livre qui a été confectionné par les hommes, écrit par les hommes. Néanmoins, il y a une véracité, pas de la vérité, mais de la véracité dans le discours biblique, comme dans le discours coranique, taoïste, etc. I've been reading a lot of books lately. I've been reading a lot of books lately about spirituality, philosophy, metaphysics, the metaphysical of existence itself. And I basically found that the Bible is one of these books. There's no difference. The Bible is not up here and the Quran is right there. No, the Quran and the Bible, they are equal, right? The Bible uses a genre, which is not the same. It's not the same as the scientific method. This is for a lot of rational people out there, okay? A lot of rational atheists out there who believes that something that to be true, that should be proven by the scientific method. Non. La méthode scientifique, comme on le dit, c'est une méthode, c'est une manière d'investiguer le réel, d'interroger le réel. Il y a d'autres méthodes. Il y a la méthode artistique ou esthétique. Il y a la méthode philosophique, métaphysique et littéraire. Ok? On parle même d'autres méthodes. Ok? 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 Donc, la Bible, this is a literary method to investigate reality. Sometimes I feel like when I'm listening to a lot of people talking, people talking, they just having discussion. Like, people say, God does not exist. God exists. And I say, whoa, what's that? The person who says that God does not exist, that person obviously never had an experience of God. Whereas, nevertheless, the person who says that God exists exactly had never had any experience of God. So where's the truth? Am I saying the truth or are you saying the truth? Or being agnostic, le fait d'être agnostique, de dire God does not exist, I don't know. To be aloof in the situation. Is that the truth? No, that's not the truth. So where's the truth then? The agnostic would say, I don't know. I don't know. That's not important. Let's just preoccupy ourselves with basic pragmatic stuff. But it's important. It's important. First and foremost, before answering is God exist or not, I have a book here which written by Christian Kuhn, which is a really brilliant theologian, German theologian. I really love his book because it's rational, it's philosophical, and it's full of biases, ideological biases, like from the church, orthodoxies in Germany. But I still read the book because I think it has a lot of interesting things in it. But nevertheless, before answering whether God exists and or not, you have to answer the question, who is God? But I prefer to say, what is God? What is God? If we're talking about the Bible, because in the Quran, it's not the same name. They say Allah in the Quran, like the collective imagination of the Muslim people is totally, because I've been reading a lot of people, from different countries, and trying to understand their mindset. I really see that, their world. If you really trying to understand their world, that they have good reasons to support their ideologies, and then you listen to a bunch of Christians in the West, and then you listen their world. They have a lot of reason to support that thing as well. Now, where's the truth? No, Dylan. There's an American writer who wrote a piece of poetry which I deeply enjoy. He said that the West and the East will never get back again. If you read a little bit of history, the West and the East, basically the the Western civilization is basically from the Eastern civilization. For a lot of historian and paleontologists, people that are studying the past, like to see the evolution of mankind from different stages, and or the I don't know, creation of mankind, etc. Um, you would see that um, back then people use different ideas. Okay, people use different ideas. Okay, Bob Dylan said the West and the East will never get back again, because the Western civilization is from the Eastern civilization, and the Eastern civilization is well fresh, whereas the Western civilization is basically moving forward, and you have a tendency to see that the West is just moving crazy, right? As um, Mahatma Gandhi said that with the with the West is the end of a civilization, whereas with the East it is the beginning of a civilization. Okay, so basically, um, you have to answer the question before answer whether something is or is not. Debating, avant débat, avant de dire que on bagaille ça ou pas ça, après là qui est important, ok? Que é important. A primeira coisa que é muito importante para vocês, como se diz em português, é você tem que saber a natura da coisa. Se você não sabe a natura dessa coisa que você está defendendo, então você está na ideologia. Você está aplicando as coisas que você deu de outras pessoas, que não está bom. Porque você tem que ter a sua própria capacidade para ver exatamente o que é bom ou o que não. Senão você não vai ter essa possibilidade de avançar para o futuro, não? É por isso que eu disse isso. Quando eu estou falando como brasileiros, as pessoas que moram no Brasil, então essa ideologia da uso da Bíblia é totalmente diferente do que nós no Haiti, que somos haitianos, right? So this is, let me say that in English. This is totally different. When I'm talking to a lot of Brazilian people, I have a couple of conversations with Brazilian people. I have a lot of Brazilian folks, like native speakers, And when I'm talking to them, the collective imaginary, the collective mindset that we Haitian people have, or the American people, because we basically inherit this from the American people, because it's not deeply in our soul. Okay? The religion that is deeply in our soul and as Haitian people is Vodou. It's not Christianity. It's not Catholicism. It's not baptism. It's not Mormon. It's not Taoism. And the Vodou and Christianity, they're the same. That's not a difference. Like when you see somebody is practicing voodoo, you say that person is basically archaic, is obsolete. That person is basically gonna use black magic in order to do bad things to me, right? But it's not always the case. It is not always the case. Voodoo, Christianity, with this book, the Bible, is inherently, when I say inherent, is in nature the same thing. There's not a difference. I've studied these things for quite a while now. But I'm telling you that they are the same thing. There's not a difference. There's not a difference between the two. The difference is that one is adopted by a civilization, the other is adopted by a culture. One is adopted by a civilization, the other is adopted by a culture. Now, if you just want to know the difference between a culture and a civilization, I want to read a text written by a French philosopher. I want to read this text in French, then I'm going to give you a couple of pieces in English so that you can understand. It's a very interesting book that you can basically master whenever you are trying to understand civilization and culture in general. This text was written by Gaston Berger in 1955. Okay, the text name is from a collection of texts called Prospective, Perspective. Civilisation et culture. I'm going to read the text for you. C'est un fait qu'actuellement, tous les peuples dépendent étroitement les uns des autres. Ils sont bien loin, cependant, d'être engagés dans une activité véritable. Interdépendants sans être unis par le corps, dissociés dans leurs aspirations. C'est une situation bien inconfortable et qui n'est pas sans danger. Il était facile de coexister en s'ignorant. Il l'est moins de vivre ensemble lorsque quelqu'un prétend agir à sa guise. Je suis frappé de voir que, parmi les valeurs auxquelles les différents peuples sont attachés, il y en a de deux sortes fort différentes. Il y a, d'une part, des valeurs universelles qui existent de tous ceux qui les reconnaissent des comportements identiques. De l'autre, des valeurs personnelles qui, par essence, impliquent la diversité. Le nom de civilisation me paraît convenir aux premières, celui de culture aux secondes. J'ai dit et écrit en diverses circonstances que la culture était le sens de l'humain. C'est la même chose que d'y voir l'ensemble des valeurs esthétiques, l'art et art réunis, bien entendu. L'art nous montre le double aspect de la condition humaine, avec, d'une part, ses limitations, sa situation à un moment du temps et un point de l'espace, son incarnation, ses faiblesses, avec, d'autre part, ses aspirations et ses exigences. Tout homme est semblable au peintre. Il doit traduire la pureté de son existence dans l'impureté de la matière. Avec des terres et des boues, créer de la lumière et de la grandeur. Avec les petites passions des hommes, susciter de l'héroïsme. L'homme artiste qui doit aussi élargir, élever son existence et, en quelque sorte, aller au-delà de soi-même. C'est un très beau texte écrit par Gaston Berger, un très grand philosophe français que vous pouvez lire, rencontrer sur Internet. Grand penseur français qui se consacre tant à des tâches humanistes qu'à des études purement philosophiques. Après avoir joué un rôle important dans la vie économique de la France, comme chef d'entreprise, il décida de se vouer à l'enseignement et devint bientôt professeur à l'université d'Aix en province. s'assurant aussi de nombreuses missions d'enseignement dans des universités étrangères. Il fut appelé en 1952 au poste de directeur de l'enseignement supérieur et entrepris d'en moderniser profondément les structures. À la mort de l'ethnologue Paul Rivet, un ethnologue, c'est quelqu'un qui étudie la culture de manière, qui étudie l'homme du point de vue culturel. C'est une branche de l'anthropologie, l'ethnologie. Il fut élu président de la Commission française pour l'éducation de la science et de la culture, UNESCO. Principale œuvre, les cogito dans la pensée de Husserl, c'est des textes philosophiques, caractère et personnalité, phénologie du temps. Vous savez, il y a phénologie du temps, de l'esprit, de la pensée, tout ça. Ce sont des textes écrits par Maurice Merleau-Ponty, un grand linguiste, philosophe du langage français. Il y a aussi Husserl et Russell aussi. Okay? Il y a aussi Hegel, philosophe allemand. Okay? Il assurait la direction d'une publication monumentale, l'Encyclopédie française, et celle de la revue Prospective. Dans ce texte, il parle de la civilisation de la culture. Alors, c'est un très très beau texte écrit par Gaston Berger, un grand philosophe des années 1950 en France. Alors, what I was saying is that philosophy, this text written by, ce texte qui est écrit par Gaston Berger, civilisation et culture, la différence, il y a une chose qui est extrêmement importante que je vais lire à nouveau. J'ai dit et écrit en diverses circonstances que la culture était le sens de l'humain. C'est la même chose que d'y voir l'ensemble des valeurs, esthétique, art et l'être réunis, bien entendu. L'art nous montre le double aspect de la condition humaine, avec, d'une part, ses limitations, sa situation, à un moment du temps et un point de l'espace. C'est extrêmement important. Tout homme est semblable au peintre. Il doit traduire la pureté de son existence dans l'impureté de la matière. Extrêmement intéressant. Donc, la culture, c'est plus personnel, alors que la civilisation est, je dirais, identique. So, let me just wrap up this wonderful text written by Gaston Berger, which is a fantastic author, French author in the 1950s. This author basically made a difference between civilization and culture, civilization from one part and culture in the other part. And he said that culture is something that is arises from mankind as a way to look for aspiration, a way to give a sense to yourself, to give sense to humanity, etc. Whereas civilization is something that is much more global, and it composes of different mindsets put together in order to live a common life, right? So what I was saying is that the basic difference between Vodou and Catholicism or Christianity itself is that Christianity is a religion survived in great times, and it is a religion of a civilization, whereas Vodou is a religion, is a spiritual practice or spiritual it's a ritual, we can say that is practiced in a more cultural way, right? Like if you go, let me take an example. Like somebody who lives in the United States. Like I have a couple of friends living in the United States. Sometimes I'm trying to converse with them, or a couple of people interested in Haiti. I just want to tell them, look, like if you go somewhere in Haiti, just moving around, like you're on the street, right? And then somebody asks, like you're talking to somebody, and then you say something in a street, like you're in a car, and then you say, well, you're talking good about, let's say, baptism. Like some people are not going to agree. Like people that are not Baptist, that are Catholic, Catholic people, they're not gonna say anything. Okay, most of the time, but deeply inside, they know that their philosophy of life, of existence, of the other, which they called God, okay, they just say that it's not their philosophy of life. It's not how they approach this philosophy. Whereas they're not going to say anything. They're not going to dismiss the person who says, well, Baptist is the best religion in the world. Like, I'm good. I feel very happy to be Baptist, and I want to convert everybody to be Baptist, and it's the best thing ever. They're not going to say, oh, this guy is, maybe he's in his or her heart, he's going to say, this guy is crazy. Because Baptist is not the best, it's not the best. But they're not going to say that. They're not going to denounce that person. Whereas, if you find somebody, like, you take baptism, the same thing. If you take a Catholic person, basically who follows all the ritual of Catholicism, that person is going to, basically in the street, and that person is going to talk and say, Catholic is the best way to be. Then Christian people, they're not going to say anything. Protestant, they're not going to say anything. Pentecost, Baptist, Mormon, they're basically not going to say anything. Whereas, I remember when I was like 2 years ago, I had not a discussion, not a dispute, but not an altercation, but basically I had to, not to shut down, I would say, but I would not say educate, but to, what would I say? To let some old guys who are supposedly to be wise, I have to tell them what I think about our culture, our spirituality as a Haitian, as a people, as a nation, and then what a common, let's say, belief system is about. I'm not saying the belief system is perfect because I'm very scientific, but you have to teach people a little bit above their level. You can't teach somebody, like somebody's a level 1. You can't go to level 10. No, you have to be in level 2. Like the way that when you're teaching kids how to talk, right? You're not going to talk to the baby, say, mama, mama, papa, all the time, right? It's going to be fucking, crazy. But you need to talk in a way so that the baby can understand. But also, you need to talk in a way so that you can raise the lexicon, the mental lexicon, the vocabulary words of the baby, so that the baby can be adapted to, many more words whenever she or he encounters other people who are in the state of communication. So you need to say that to the baby so that the baby can raise up. Whenever you just need to improve in something, you need to take something a little bit, above your level. That's how you psychologically stable. Like you always need to be moving forward. If you're just doing something all the time, that you've been doing it all the time, well, there's no point in doing it, right? Like learning a language, you always need, like, if you're listening to me right now, okay, I'm not saying that I'm not a native speaker in English, but I'm pretty good with the language. Like, I would suggest that if you really understand my conversation that I'm having in English, not just because I use Haitian Creole, but you understand it in English for English, I would say that if you just really want to improve your English, the only thing that you really want to do is to listen to, like, content from native speakers. You don't really need to listen to teachers. You need to listen to content from native speakers and put in your head that you speak the language already, that you need to use the language as a vehicle for understanding, like to broaden your horizon in the world, not just for something that you're learning per se. That does not mean you're not going to make a lot of mistakes. Still American. I use sometimes expressions, let's say words that I found from books, and then most of the Haitian American people, they're not going to understand it because these are very literary words that you only find in books. Whereas if I use a very common word, they would understand it. So language is very vast. So yeah, let's just close this parenthesis. What I really want to say is that if somebody is talking about Vodou, which one of the guy in the top tops was basically brought up the subject, most of the people they look crazy. How come? Why are we talking about Vodou? We're talking about Catholicism, Christianity, good things that are not stinky, things that smells good. What the fuck are you talking about? Sorry for my language. You're talking about voodoo right here? And they just come up with a bunch of stories like Vodou. This is where Vodou comes from. 95% of what's talking about Vodou, they're ignorant of Vodou. They don't read even one book about Vodou. Not even one book of Vodou. They don't even one author who investigated the thing itself and went on different surveys and published a lot of documents on this. They don't know anything about that. All they know is what other people say, all the beliefs they hold from handed by generation and by generation. This was a virus they have in their fucking mind. Sorry for the language. And they just keep that right there, especially for Haitian folks. And then when they say Vodou, see, they put Christianity, Catholicism, Jehovah's Witnesses, Baptist, Mormon, like they just put them up there, and they just put Vodou up down there, and they think that Vodou is the work of the devil. And then when you just come up with another philosophy, like if I bring Taoism, the sound, they say, whoa, that's the same thing. Just lump them all together with Vodou, right? That's ignorance. There's a Chinese author whose name is Confucius. He said that ignorance is the night of the mind, a night with no moon or star. Let me say that again, because that's very powerful. Ignorance, to be ignorant, like the fact you don't know that you don't know, and then you pretended that you know. Okay? Ignorance is the night of the mind. Ignorance is the night of the mind. A night with no moon or star. You see, how's a night with no moon or star? That's buck dark. It's more than darkness. That's what ignorance is. Ignorance is the night of the mind, a night with no moon or star. And then these guys, I'll basically use this word for them because I can't find any other scientific denomination to label the stupidity that they were doing in the top. I think ignorant is the best scientific label that I can label them with. Okay, the best etiquette. Okay, c'est l'étiquette la plus parfaite pour science. And then they were debating, these guys say, oh, no, you shouldn't be talking about Vodou because Vodou is, Miss Antique is chaotic, a lot of chaotic things. You see how we're doing bad in Haiti because you just have Vodou and stuff like that. A lot of made of, stories. And I just intervention and I say, well, what's Vodou? What's the purpose of Vodou? And they just bring all the stories with no metaphysical, with no, nothing, just shallow stuff that you can listen to babies saying, like people that are supposed to be in their 30s, 40s, they're just saying, like, things that children are saying. Like even some guys who just pretend to go to school, they're just saying the same thing. They never spend any time just investigating what Vodou is, reading books. No, they don't ever do that. They will never do that because it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of energy. I would not say it takes a lot of time, but it's whenever you just go into you're gonna talk about something, at least you have some ideas about it. They don't know who brought that idea, that fear of Vodou, whether it was from somebody from outside the community, just really wanted to rule. They didn't know it was John Spencer, an English writer in the 19th century, in the 80s. They don't know that. All they're talking about is just how ugly Vodou is. Whereas Vodou and Christianity, like the thing that you have right here with this book, Christianity and Vodou is the same thing. By essence, they're the same thing. Vodou is our beautiful spiritual journey for Haitian folks, it's a way, I would say, for it's basically a way to express your Haitianism, okay? All the baggage that you have, everything that you have as a Haitian people, as a Haitian nation, folks, etc. Vodou is the very basis of um, the Haitian I, the mental I of the Haitian folks. Vodou is the spiritual journey that every Haitian people should, in a way, engage in. Not in a very dogmatic way that you're gonna believe a lot. There are a lot of crazy stuff in Vodou, like in all religion and in all spirituality. When it turns into a religion, there are a lot of crazy shit in them. A lot of crazy thing in them. Whenever that there's a because the first visionaries of that of the religion, of the spiritual thing or journey, they intended to help humanity. Like if you read the philosophy of, let's take an example. If you read Gnostic Christianity was considered, from the very beginning of Christianity, as an heresy, because the way that they interpret the Bible, especially the New Testament, was totally different from the Orthodox, the people who wanted to just keep the Bible, the way it was written, and then they just really wanted to show us that the Bible is basically literally a word from God, whereas they really want to take every single thing written in the Bible literally. That's why they call it in the United States radicalism or fundamentalism. Like whenever you discard all the metaphoric like meaning senses of something, and then you just apply it to you apply it the way it's written, right? And then you say that's the truth, and that's how it's supposed to be. You discard all the metaphors written in it, because the Bible itself, Vodou itself, is a literary pieces, is a literary masterpiece, right? And we should be very careful whenever that we're going to read them, whenever we're going to interpret them. They're literary things. They can contain metaphysical, philosophical, and literary stuff in them. They talk about the very fabric of existence, reality, okay? But they are not to be taken literally. Not even to be taken for granted, but also not to be taken literally, because they are very difficult to read, right? I've been reading the Bible for 3 years now. Just reading a lot of text in the Bible. I've been reading Kaufman, Yael Kaufman, which is a Israeli philosopher who has a PhD basically in the Bible, the origin of the Bible. He has a book written which is the religion of Israel. He's one of the guys who said that who made the difference between polytheism and monotheism, and put two words that are monolatry and hedonism. So I studied this guy, and I have a bunch of his texts with me in my house that I've been reading for a couple of years now, I would say. And also, I also compare the Bible with other spiritual traditions, like the Taoism, the Zen masters, and like, for example, the idea of God in Christianity is totally different from the Muslim community. Like in Muslim community, they say Allah, but the mental image that they have, okay, about God, what we say God in the West, is totally different from it's totally different from the rest. Because, for example, with a lot of pictures, imageries, and stuff, done in the West, you tend to see, like, when you're talking to a very average person, like, the person tends to believe that God is a bearded man in the sky, or there's this anthropomorphic like characterization of God, right? Basically, he's a he. Like, you just give a gender. I remember listening to a spiritual teacher. His name is Sadhguru, and said that whenever you're thinking of God, just think about him as a girl. She's a she, and she's a black. It's a she, and she's a black. It's not to believe that she's a she, but just to confuse with all the thing we see in your culture, like God, you say him, 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 him. No, that's sexist as well, right? It's not a she. It's not a she. It's not a he, right? If you in Genesis, I don't remember Genesis, which chapter in Genesis. It said that j'aime la traduction française et aussi la traduction anglaise, et ça s'explique bien en hébreu. In Hebrew, the translation in French and in English, there's a slight, I don't know if it is a maneuver or like people trying to make the gospel a certain way. But if you're reading it in Greek or Latin, you're going to understand the fundamental message of that. Most of the ideologies found in the Bible, they were constructed along the centuries as people use them as a mechanism, a soft mechanism, just to control other people, Like, now we're living in a world where civilization as we know it is basically dissolving, right? With the rise of technology, like I'm talking on Facebook, I can share my message, right? I can say what I think, etc., and other people can react, like from all over the world, right? So this, globalization idea is basically smothering other cultures, and then people tend to aspire to the global culture. Okay, but if you're reading like if you're reading the Bible, like the very first chapter of Genesis, I think chapter 2, chapter 3, I don't remember, because there's two Genesis stories, like scientifically speaking. There are two. Okay, there are Genesis 1, which is a one story, and by a lot of scientists, they believe that it was written by one one group of writers, and Genesis 2 is a total different way of approaching existence itself. But in Genesis 1, at the end of Genesis 1 or 2, they said that, well, I don't remember. Genesis 1 or Genesis 2 said that God created Adam with lowercase a, the capital A, uppercase A, and lowercase a. If you're reading it in Greek, if you're reading it in English, there are a lot of ideological baggage in it. You're going to see that it's Adam. Like, they just want to believe that Adam was something or someone, etc. But if you're just reading it in Greek, I guarantee, you can go to a website, a French website. His name is Thomas Romer. Belgico-français. Il y a un doctorat. He has a PhD in the studies of religious studies. Il a un doctorat de les études de la Bible, le texte religieux en général. Son nom c'est Thomas Romer, comme ça. You go to Google, you're gonna find him. He has a lot of books. He has a catalog of books. Il a beaucoup de documents scientifiques, archéologiques, littéraires, philosophiques, philosophical books, literary books, scientific books on this matter. In Genesis 1 and Genesis 2, it said that God created Adam, lowercase, the original book. And in the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. In the image of God, he created him, which is a personal pronoun, right? Which is a personal object pronoun in English. Okay? Lui en français, li en créole haïtien, il en espagnol, o en portugais, et li en italien, te dans les autres langues, la langue russe, etc. Okay. God created Adam, and the image of God, he created him, male and female, he created them. Je pense que dans la traduction française, ça se dit comme ça. Dieu a créé Adam à son image, homme. C'est masculin et féminin. En français, on met homme et femme, mais dans la traduction française de 2 siècles avant, c'est masculin et féminin qu'on met. Male and female, he created them. Male and, you have to read that through. Hermeneutics. Herméneutique, on dit en français herméneutique, c'est-à-dire la gens qui étudie l'interprétation des textes littéraires de manière philologique. Vous voyez, il faut avoir pas un diplôme, mais une expertise dans l'interprétation de ces documents-là pour comprendre l'usage des pronoms de la langue latine, grecque, jusqu'à l'anglais ancien, moyen et l'anglais moderne. From Old English, Middle English, and modern English from Shakespeare, Charles Dickens, okay? Old English with, what's his name? Beowulf, okay? Old English, okay? Middle English with Gregory Chaucer, and modern English with William Shakespeare, okay? During the Renaissance time. So God created Adam, and the image of God, he created him, male and female, he created them. A lot of people are just gonna say that Adam and Eve were women and men. Whereas when you study from a very spiritual, mystical sense, like Adam and Eve are two energies of the existence itself. Like you can say that, for example, I'm a man, yeah. I'm a man. I'm not gendered. I'm not weird. I'm not queer. I'm not transgender or transsexual. It's not. I'm not saying these are things are bad, but I'm saying I'm not. I'm just a man. I'm straight and I'm a man. So that does not mean that I don't have any feminine energy in me. Feminine energy does not mean like I'm a woman, like I'm a sissy. No, it does not mean that. Feminine energy is, you can use feminine energy, like it's not, you can see that more in women. When you say feminine energy, you tend to see that more in women. Like a lot of women tend to be tomboy, bossy, etc. They tend to have a lot of masculine energy, because you have to have feminine energy and masculine energy all the time. Because if you don't have feminine energy and masculine energy all the time, you're gonna die, right? Existence is just to find the right balance between feminine energy and masculine energy, and basically that's what Taoism is all about. The yin and yang, right? If you just say in all the yin, which is total order, like if you read Jordan Peterson's book, which is one of the great contemporary writer, Canadian writer, about these metaphysical points of existence. If you just say all time in order, you're not just enjoying yourself. You're not just taking enough feminine energy, you're just gonna die. Whereas if you just stay in all chaos, just feminine energy, you're just gonna die. Like feminine energy, like the female in the Bible is basically opening. You tend to see that women tend to be, like in the United States at least, I believe that women are more liberal than men. That's what I read. I read this a long time ago. Yeah. Conservative people, they tend to be more men, especially old men. Like when you're conservative, you just want to protect something that you had. Like, and there's an American author whose name is Lula Guru, who said that liberal of today is conservative of today was basically liberal of yesterday, and liberal of today are conservative of tomorrow. We tend to see that. Yeah, women tend to be more open than men generally. Like this energy, like most of the women, they have it, which is the opening energy, like to explore the unknown. You tend to see that more in women than men. I see that a lot in my mother. I have a mother, and different relationship that I have. When I say relationship, friendship, and that I have with women, I tend to see that more in women than men. They're more open, like to learn. Generally, I'm speaking. It's not a stereotype, but sometimes you can see a man that has this energy. It's crazy, right? They're open. Yeah. For example, I tend to be very open myself. I tend to change my paradigm all the time. Like somebody can challenge my paradigm until I change it, well, I will. Because existence is trying to find that balance, okay, with the known and the unknown. You're not going to see the known all the time, but you need to, find the balance of the known and the unknown. So basically, God has this two energy. Like if you read the philosophy of Taoism, when they say existence is God, God is not this bearded man in the sky, like a lot of people just tell me it is. No, God is what science is looking for. God is what, not who. Not who. Do not put a human label in it, like an anthropomorphic label. Like just put your sentiment, like your feelings, your way of understanding reality, and just put it on God. Say this is God. This is God. God is omniscient. Is no. That's human interpretation of the real reality. If you're the philosopher of Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant is a great philosopher that I really enjoy, but his book is very hard to read. More than 4,000. His first book, which is the Critic of Pure Reason. En français, on dit La Critique de la Raison Pure. Il y a deux livres. La Critique de la Raison Pure, La Critique de la Raison Pratique d'Immanuel Kant. Okay, the Critic of Pragmatic Reasons and the Critics of Pure Reasons. Good books, very good books. It's all about metaphysics, reality. Very good books, but very, very difficult to read. Immanuel Kant was one of my favorite philosophers, by the way. Said that he was an agnostic. He was not an atheist, neither a theist. These are two ideologies, even the three, because agnostics tend to be more open. Atheists just say materialism, this does not exist, da 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 da. Theists just take all the bullshit, like ideas given by the ancestors. They're trying to teach you them as a dogma, indoctrinate you not to move forward, not to think for yourself, right? And agnostic, they tend to be more open. Most of the time they are scientifically minded, they're rationally minded, they're rational in their reasoning, they use logos, they use a lot of logics, they're open for proof, they just amazed by this is a miracle. This mystery, which is existence, language, communication, like anything that we are basically experiencing in reality itself. They're amazed by this beauty that nature is full of, and they just say that, well, I don't know, man. I'm agnostic. But itself, agnostics are generally more open. Like, yeah. Like, theists, they're not going to listen. They're just going to take the word for word. They're just teaching you something that they don't know any idea about. They're not meditate. They don't know anything about meditation. Like, they don't know prayer is a way of meditation, is a meditation practice, different from other spirituality techniques. Like, in Buddhism, they use meditation a lot. Like, meditation is basically, as I understand it, is basically a method that you use in order to empty your mind from a lot of distractions and a lot of impressions from the world. Like our mind, our eyes, our nose, the olfactive sense, tongue, ear, and all our senses, basically, even our tuition, that we consider to be the sixth sense, which is basically higher than all these. In some civilization is required as this, in the triangle, the pyramid, as this eye, we call the third eye. They all just, mechanism. They're all senses just to have control of the exterior world. Just to have control of the exterior world, right? The exterior world all around. These senses, right? The eye, the nose, the eyes, the ear, the mouth. Like I'm talking to you. I'm just having, talking is me, using a linguistic code. Like a linguistic code is a bunch of sound that is organized by a community. It's a range of of symbol for meaning making, and then it's a way of transaction, a way of transaction like ideas through phonemes and morphemes. Then you get to have in your mind, in your imagination, some concepts, some ideas, or some objects. Like if I say Bible, you see the Bible. But if I say Christianity, you have a sense of Christianity, how people learn Christianity is. So these people, they are very, very, very amazed, okay, by this, usage of this language, and they say they don't know. They don't know. They tend to be more open. Okay, they tend to be more open. So the meditation that I was talking to you about is that all our senses, even the intuition, according to the philosopher of philosophy of what's his name again? The French philosopher of the who died in 1907. He has a PhD in physics and he was a professor of Collège de France in France. What is his name? Not Gaston Bachelard. I forget his name. My gosh. His book, I can't remember everything about him, but not his name. His book is La Pensée et Mouvement. Thoughts and movements. Whoa. I forget his name. So, okay. So, never mind. Okay, Henri Bergson. Henri Bergson, yeah. Great philosopher. Great philosopher. So, yeah. Language, all the senses that we use, is just to tell the other that we're here. Oh, I exist. And most of the time in this transaction, it's a business transaction. Like if you're not doing any business, you're just gonna die. You're not gonna resist. There's not gonna be any existence for you, right? What is money made of? It's something created by men. Okay. There's no fundamental metaphysical baggage in money. Everything that is all about money is right here. There's nothing in money itself. It's a paper. It's nothing. It's hard to tell a lot of people in the world now that money is nothing. They're not going to understand it. Now, all these things, the language that we use, the writing system, the ear, even the intuition, they are designed to save us from the world. They're designed to supposedly save us from the world. In other words, they are designed for us as a mechanism and a tool to survive, a tool of survival. Now, as a tool of survival, we are basically ignoring, right? We're basically ignoring what's really happening right here, the mystery of existence itself. What's really happening? We're just using labels, languages, and this and that, and listen to a lot of pastors, priests, people telling you all the things, and we never take the time to look within. And the only time that we take our time to look within, we can't look at it because it's so ugly. It's so disgusting. Sometimes we just use our phones. Like, I hope that sometimes I'm not distracting you right now from existence, But anyway, sometimes you use. So whenever you just come to yourself, like whenever you tend to have a conversation with yourself, with the me and the I, and the me and the I are getting together, you just shut that dialogue. I don't want to hear that. I just want to live in the way that I am perceived by society. Why do we wear this, which is clothes? Why do we wear clothes? Right. I don't wear clothes for myself. You don't wear clothes for yourself. I don't wear clothes for myself, and you don't either. Yeah, you don't wear it for yourself. Sometimes you feel very, embarrassed. Like, we never sleep without clothes. No one. Almost no one. Sometimes I even tried to sleep without anything on. Yeah. We don't wear it for ourselves. We wear it for the other. There's a shame in the other. Like when the other saw it, like see us like the way that we're supposed to be naturally. So we created all these conventions, civilizations bringing these things in, just to be looking good in the eyes of the person, but not for ourselves. We don't know who we are. We don't know who we are. So why do we wear it? I'm not suggesting not to wear it though. What I'm suggesting is that to know why you wear it. That's why it's important. I'm not trying to say that because I'm not trying to say that because you can't live. You can go to the jungle. You can't. You have to stay in society. With all these ideas about God, the Bible, this and that, you're gonna live with all of them. But you need to learn not to take them personally. You need to meditate in that. And meditate does not mean live like in a Buddhist monk, like you said. No, meditate is to just thinking through without distractions. It's different, a little bit different from contemplation, but you basically just looking at the thing, thinking about the thing for itself, not just what people say. And because you gotta live. Like right here, me, I'm basically I'm trying to open. I'm trying to open. I'm trying to have a conversation with you guys. Hopefully, it's gonna be maybe a channel to talk about these things, like fundamental things that I've been reading, basically philosophy, things that are very important and people do not give a lot of importance in society, like what is the nature of what is the nature, what are the conditions, quelles sont les conditions de possibilité de tel bagage, what are the conditional possibilities of the existence of what. Yeah, these are not very my passions. Like sometimes I read the Bible, which I'm basically talking about today, not to read it from the perspective of basically what people are saying, because people are the conventional stages, conformist stages. Like people, right here, if you're gonna follow society, it's good to follow society in a way because you have to live through society. There are a lot of good stuff to study in the Bible, a lot of good stuff to study on what they say. Sometimes they say they even know the depth of the message. You need to learn that. But there are post-conventional ideas, right? Not in the conventional ideas. Like you need to do that, like a conventional, traditional, radical Christian or Muslim. You see what happened in a lot of countries. Like whenever somebody take this for the truth, right? Take this for the truth, or take the Quran for the truth, without examining it, without like trying to discard some of the cultural, historical, and literal and philosophical baggages, and trying to understand the message and let it evolve. So we are evolving. Let it evolve through centuries. Just gonna see what happened. And an author said that religion is the corruption of spirituality. Like religion, I don't want to sound a little bit. I'm not gonna sound that today. I'm just gonna leave that another day. This phrase I was about to say, I'm not gonna say it, but I'm just gonna leave it another day. But anybody just want to know, you can ask me before I go. You can ask me before I go. You can ask me in the chat. You can ask me in a message in the messenger if you just want to ask it privately. You can ask it in messenger. You can leave me a message, or I'm gonna say it the next time, another time after a couple of lives, because I don't want to get into a lot of stuff, because I don't want you guys to have some existential crisis. Yeah, because it's real. Because if I'm telling a lot of stuff, like let's say for example, if somebody is a Christian, a fundamental Christian, who's listening to me now, and then I'm having this conversation, I'm saying that the Bible is a metaphysical book and a philosophical book. It's not a scientific book, which does not say it does not say that it's bad, because there's a scientific method, there's a philosophical method, there are literary method, etc. But I'm saying that what they're saying in the Bible is not literal truths. There are metaphysical instructions, what we call substrate, metaphysical and substrates. Okay, they're not things that happened, or things could happen, but they use it in Like if you're reading Homer, like Homer en français, Homero en espagnol, Homero en portugais, Homer, really great author, great author. I don't know if it's she or he, but they said that he was blind and he wrote the Odyssey and the Iliad. I have these books right here, very interesting books about the Greek literature. If you're reading them, they use the events that happened in order to tell some fundamental truths of human nature. Yeah, what's the Bible? That's what the Bible is all about. If you just reading Cain and Abel, it's a story about hatred. How somebody who's very close to you can happen to be your worst enemy. Now, before I dive into, I'm gonna read 2 or 3 passages in the Bible because I'm gonna be done now. I wanna finish with this. I wanna read 2 or 3 passages in the Bible. I just wanna give you something to basic. You can basically go and check for yourself. I'm gonna read 2 passages that I think that are very important for you guys. I want to read them. Then you can contemplate these for yourself. Okay, I'm going to read this first, then I want to read in the text. Okay. Then God said, this is Genesis first, verses 26. Okay, this is 26 and 25, but this is 26. Then God said, let us make man in our image and our likeness, and let them, men, them, men, supposed to be singular, one person, one thing, I don't know, them, pronoun, it's an object pronoun in English, used to refer to a lot of things. And sometimes in the past, they used to use it to talk about something that you don't know, okay? Like, you say that en créole haïtien, parce que lorsque vous connaissez pas quelqu'un, on utilise yo, yo dit, we don't know, yo. Hein? On dit ça en espagnol ou en portugais aussi. On utilise ça toujours en portugais, par exemple. Lorsqu'on utilise ça en anglais, on utilise la forme passive. Okay? Lorsque le sujet n'est pas important, on utilise la forme passive. Then God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Very important. Male and female, he created them. That's important to ponder. That's very important to consider. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to read now is, I just want to read the garden, the Eden Garden, which is a very fantastic story, which I will get back one day. I'm going to explain you in depth what it is, different perspectives, what I believe it is, and what a lot of other people, believe it is, it was, okay, and some scientific background and some spiritual background of the Garden of Eden with the famous serpent. A lot of people believe to be the demon or the representation of the devil, whereas in the Indian culture, the snake is a symbol of wisdom. The snake, not in this. If you like in medicines, you see the symbol of medicine. There's a sword and a snake is surrounded all around it. Snake is a symbol of wisdom in the deep Eastern philosophy. Whereas in the Bible, a lot of people use it as a serpent, as a devil. Why is that? What's really going on in the story of Eden? What's the story of Eden is all about? Is it about the snake who's gonna tell the women? And is there a woman and a man in there? Is it not a one substance, one existence itself, manifesting different ways, emotion and rationality? Is it the snake is part of that same substance within us or within. You see, there are a lot of ideas. Yeah, it's not to take it simple. The snake, women, and men. The snake is gonna seduce the women, and then the women is gonna do that. It was basically a lot of people said sex, right? And then the woman is going to talk to his partner, like what we classically know from Sunday school. Is it that? What's the interpretation of Hyperianism, the interpretation of the Indians, of Taoism, and what's the metaphysical baggage, the philosophical idea about that? Dismiss all the ideas. Okay, when I'm talking about the Bible, you have to dismiss all. Like a book does not have person; it has person. It has characters. Les livres n'ont pas, spécialement les livres de littérature, n'ont pas des personnes. Ils ont des personnages. En anglais, on appelle ça character. Okay? There are round characters. There are flat characters. Okay, the Bible is a really round characters in the Hebrew Bible, what we call the Old Testament. But scientifically speaking, it's the Hebrew Bible because there's no Old Testament in New Testament. Okay, so maybe we're gonna talk about that, which is the Garden of Eden, which is a very interesting and metaphysical and mystical story. If you read the epic of Enuma Elish, which was written before the epic of Genesis. Genesis is an epic. Okay, you're gonna see there are a lot of parallel ideas to the Bible. What I'm gonna read, I'm gonna leave the Eden garden here for another time. I really want to read. Okay, I'm gonna read the part, and then I'm gonna leave Abraham as well for the next thing before we start with Genesis, because we're gonna start with Genesis, then we're gonna continue in some series of lives that I will be doing. Hopefully, right? I believe. So I want to read the Genesis chapter 1, verses 1. I'm going to read it. The beginning. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. God said language, let there be light. There was light. God saw that the light was good, and He separated the light from the darkness. God called the night day, and the darkness He called night. Now, if you have a basic geographical sense, you will see that there's no such thing as not death, day or light. There happen to be the two movements of the earth, the rotation, the movements, that the fact that the earth revolves around itself, and the revolution, the fact that the earth, as it revolves around itself, it revolves around the sun, and that gives us years. And years, scientifically speaking, is 365 days plus 6 hours every year. Now, for 365 days every year, what people do, especially in the Gregorian calendar, they created something they called année bissextile in French, leap year in English, which is every 4 years they created an extra day. All this construction is not real, but I'm just giving you what we made of them, because today, tomorrow, tomorrow does not exist, and today does not exist. What exists is now. But okay, but we take them, conventionally speaking, like, there's today, tomorrow, there's a year, there's that. No, there's nothing there. We just created all of them on our mind. Okay, just human mind, just to operate, so that we have to have a sense of reality, not to be to be drifted in the groundless reality. We just need to have a solid mark of reality. So we created something so that everybody can go to sleep, everybody can work, etc. So that we can deny the fact that we're just gonna come to non-existence, nothingness. Comme on dit en français, le néant. I was saying French. Okay. So, um, God created the heavens. This story is the same. It has a lot of cultural baggage of the Eastern, the Near Eastern epics, the Near Eastern literature, the epic of Atrahasis, the epic of Gilgamesh, especially the story of Noah. You're gonna read that, which is basically the epic of Atrahasis, the same thing, just different language, and the epic of Enuma Elish, very interesting epic, very interesting epic. I have it. I have read it. Interesting one. If you really want to understand a lot of things happen in the Bible and to see the parallel with the Bible. The reason that these epics are not what we taught is because they are not civilized, civilizational. Like they're not based on a civilization. Because the West is from Constantine. They adopted because basically use a religion you can oppress a lot of people. When you use this, that's one of the problems that we have in Haiti is that we don't have any spiritual guidance that people tend to believe. Because there's something I don't want to say this through Facebook, but I don't know. I'm not gonna say that. But what I would say is that you need some dogmas for average people. A lot of smart people. When I say smart, I'm not saying that people go to college. No, you don't go to college. You go to go smart to be smart. You go to college just to have a basic education. To be smart, you have to think for yourself. Now, in Haiti, it's one of the greatest, one of the like problem we have in Haiti. We don't have any guidance. We need it. There used to be religion in a way and another. Like the United States is not inherently religious. No, people don't go to church like normally. Like France. You know, as I was reading, somebody said that it is the sociological image of the church, like this symbol, church something, but people do not, go in the church, even though people are gonna say that they believe in God, they love God, etc. God is love, etc., etc., which is said in the New Testament, but they don't go to church. Why is that? That's another question. They basically don't go to church, and basically that's one of the, even though that the foundation of the United States of America is on the separation of church and state. Like I think in the First or Second Amendment, they separate church and state, especially with the state which is called Rhode Island, capital Providence, under the Puritan from Great Britain. They left Great Britain for three main reasons. One of them is to have religious freedom, economical freedom, and religious freedom. They fled from England to the United States under the kingdom of what's the name of that king again? I forget the name of that king. He was an Anglican. But his religion was totally different from the religion of the Puritan. The Puritan wanted to serve God purely. They really wanted to keep their cultural identity, like to be English, to speak the language, to have the same way of thinking, to read the same books. They read to Dutch. They didn't like it because their children started to adopt some cultural, thing there. They asked to go to the United States of America. The first attempt failed, which is in Virginia. The second attempt, especially in Massachusetts, Plymouth, Massachusetts, it succeeded. They created, after Jamestown and Virginia, they created their empire there, right? Which is basically the Puritan, and they had a lot of problems. They had to choose a governor. They created the first document that basically the first constitutional document of the United States of America, which they call the Mayflower Compact, which is basically what the Constitution, the first Constitution of the United States, adopted a lot of principles from the Mayflower Compact, right? With more than 33 descendants there. And after they have a lot of problems, some of them have to leave, to go to other places because the Puritans wanted them to, they fled because of religious pressure. But when they got to the United States, they wanted to do the same thing, which is very tricky. The human mind, you know, you don't want to be treated away, but you want to treat other people that way. But you know, that's the human mind. So separation of church and state, but still, people still have this ideal of Christianity in the United States, Catholicism, even though they don't deeply believe in it, but they still have it. And Haiti, we need this. I'm not saying it's Christianity, which is fake for a lot of Haitian people, right? We don't embrace Christianity because it's so vague, and we don't embrace Christianity. We're not Christians in a way. We're Christians in the, you know, because we're part of the West, but we are Vodouists, okay? We're supposed to be adopted this because this is who we are, not as a spiritual, but as a culture. Vodou is not religion. It is not only a religion, as Christianity is not only a religion, it is a culture. It has a lot of art behind it. This is what Haitian people need to adopt to know themselves, because you can't preach others without knowing yourself. You can't know your limits until you know where you are, who you are, who you've been, and what your limits are, etc. Because you need to know yourself to know other. To know the other, you need to know yourselves. Okay? To know other people, you need to know yourself. Self. To know others, you need to know yourself. Okay? So there are a lot of confusions in Haiti. Language. We have two languages, official languages, English and French. I say English, French and Haitian Creole. 90% of Haitian folks do not speak French. 10%, or some people say 5%. They're people that have, high level education. Most of the people in Haiti are monologue, means you speak one language. Whereas being monologue in Haiti means that you are illiterate. Being illiterate, sometimes, most of the time, it means that you cannot think for yourself. Let alone taking decision for a state, for a country. So, and people, I don't know if you see that. I don't know if you've been to Haiti. Like, if you've been to Haiti or you're Asian, you might see that whenever somebody's talking and the person wants to lure, the person wants to cheat, that person is going to use French. Because most of the time, when people use French, like, you're not going to be able to respond, right? You know, a lot of people use French to talk down to you, like, you're not, good enough. Exprimez-vous. Huh? Yeah, when we speak Haitian Creole, you're not using any linguistic code. You have to use French, but other languages. Whereas if you're using Haitian Creole, well, you're not, there's not civilization there, man. What are you doing? Stupid. See? We still have this ingrained right here. 90% of Asian folks have this right here, and that's a virus. That's a virus. Language, there's not a beauty. There's no aesthetic value to a language. No, language is a code. It's a tool of communication. There's not a no. We still need to improve that, our Haitian Creole. But that does not mean that somebody using French. You see what happened in Haiti? A lot of people using French. Why? They use it in order to cheat on you, to lure, to do bad things, like to be unfair, to be unjust, right? They know that you're not going to be able to respond, and then you're afraid to respond because you're going to make a lot of mistakes. You make a lot of linguistic mistakes, and well, you're going to say forget it. Yeah, sometimes you're talking to someone, you just say something, la personne dit oui, 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 oui. C'est français, oui, 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 oui. Non, on a déjà dit oui. Maintenant, qu'est-ce que vous allez faire? Yeah. Si vous n'avez pas cette capacité-là, cette fluidité-là dans la langue pour vous exprimer, pour dire ce que vous voulez faire ou pas. Maintenant, vous dites oui, 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 oui. Oui, oui. C'est très mauvais. Ça va bon même. Donc, on est haïtien, on est créolophone. Okay? On est créolophone. Après, on est francophone. Ça veut dire que haïtien de mettre en français de côté. Non, une langue, euh, par exemple, ce livre-là, c'est de la langue à la civilisation, à la culture. À partir de la langue, on peut parvenir à la civilisation de la langue, de la langue, du peuple. C'est un patrimoine culturel lié. C'est pas en question de colonisation, etc. Bah, ça, là, oui. Donc, la réalité, ça trouve là. The reality is right here. I tend to be Berkeley sometimes, like, Berkeley and Karl Marx. I tend to see reality does not exist right here. There's no reality right here. Like, reality is right here. This is how you create reality. It starts right here. Even though I sound very idealist, I think this is how you can grow. Say that reality is right here. Whatever situation you have, like suffering or something like that, it's right here. The importance of detachment that you have to something, it's right here. You let alone, you're gonna live. Okay, let's take an example. I have something I said to a pastor. I was a teenager at the time, but I was very, since the very beginning, I've been questioning everything. And I told him, okay, your attachment to the church is right here. If you put it somewhere and you live and you're gonna forget this. After a long time, you're gonna develop a total other identity, and you're not gonna have this identity. Sometimes a lot of people do. I say, spend 2 days without even thinking about God, thinking about the church. You're still gonna exist. Exist is this. It's not this philosophical ideas. It's good to think about them, like to see what others make of them, to see how people in society respond and different things and that. But it's better to take care of this here and now, not in a very greedy way with I need everything from you now. No, here and now, to live here, to live now, and then to have good intentions and to let go of the past. Because as Pascal said that the future and the past does not exist. The future and the past are colored by the present. How different is your past is how different your present is now. How different your future is going to be, how different your actions you're taking right now is going to be. So, yeah. So, I think I've been talking a lot. Okay. I'm going to be doing a series of videos on the Bible. I'm going to cover maybe the first parts of the Bible, the first 5 books of the Bible, or the first 2 books of the Bible, or even Genesis. Because Genesis is very important. Once you understand Genesis, well, you understand the whole Bible. You're gonna understand it. So, guys, thank you. I don't know how many people is watching me. I've been live for a long time. I get these videos are very important for those of you that are really interested about philosophical things about existence, about reality itself. I think it's very important sometimes. I'm very interested in these ideas. I have a lot of books around me. You can see that I have books. 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 I have papers. Like books are my friends. I'm not trying to create an identity out of this, but I'm trying to understand things. I don't want to take things for granted. I do these things at specific time. I take care of myself during the day, but at night during this time I'm supposed to be reading and thinking. And there are some great YouTubers and teachers that are writing great books that I enjoy, that I believe that they are my mentor, my master, that I use them. I consult their documents and trying to understand things from their work. I'm not trying to believe everything, just told and granted and say everything's going to be easy. No. Life is hard, so you need to think, right? So I hope to have more resources, to have more time to go in deep depth in these things in Haitian Creole. And I haven't read the Bible in Haitian Creole, which I really want to do, because I really want to talk in Haitian Creole. Because most of the if I'm going to talk about the Bible, I want to talk about Abraham or Abram. Like most of the terms are going to be easier in English and French, because I read in these 2 languages. Okay, I don't read in the Haitian Creole, which is something that I'm personally responsible for that and guilty for it as well. I would say responsible, right? But I have been looking for these books all around that I can find. So thank you guys for watching my live. I don't know how many people is watching me now. It's been great. And Facebook can be a means of communication and great dialogue, productive dialogue, conducted by someone who is, relatively speaking, open to learn from you guys and to learn from his mistakes, uh, doing specific time. I'm very happy. I'm in my house, my room specifically. It's not. It's night. It's almost. It's 11. Yeah, it's night. I'm using artificial light. Um, yeah. So thanks for watching me. It's a great pleasure for me. I'm a language teacher and language coach. I'm a polyglot myself, but I teach a lot of people how to. Um, I teach a lot of people how to. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Sorry. I'm sorry. My light goes off. Uh, yes. I'm sorry. Where's my light? Yeah. I teach a lot of people how to read. What would you say? Like learn languages. You can go to my YouTube channel, which is Self-Taught Polyglot, where I have a lot of videos. I'm basically teaching Haitian Creole there, in English. I have a degree in foreign languages and literature, and I'm currently studying linguistics, and also I'm an informal philosopher. Okay, I'm an informal philosopher. Maybe hopefully I can be a formal philosopher, but I read a lot about philosophy, and I have my own philosophy in life. So you can follow me there. I don't have any channel for my philosophical ideas yet, but I will have in the future. And you can follow me on YouTube, which is Self-Taught Polyglot. I'm just gonna put the link below this video. On Facebook, this video is not about language learning. It is entirely in English. It is a dialogue designed for to those of you who have a great understanding of the English language. A lot of people are gonna say, "Well, it's not Haitian Creole at all," but I just wanted to do it in English. Sometimes I want to do it in Haitian Creole. If you want to learn Haitian Creole with me, you can go to my YouTube channel as well. Subscribe to my YouTube channel because I'm going to have a bunch of videos there for those of you that are interested in learning Haitian Creole. And I hope in the future I'm working. I have a problem with energy, and I have some, gadgets problem now. I really wanted to create a website just to teach languages so that you can go and take your course, learn online with me, Haitian Creole and English. And French. Hopefully, I'm going to be teaching French as well. I'm taking courses at a French school, French Institute, to be a teacher. So I'm basically taking courses there, French Institute. I want to be a French teacher as well. I'm going to be teaching French to you guys too in a couple of months, not more than 4. I think 4 months from now, I'm going to be a French teacher. Maybe I will open my. I would include French in my website as well, or in my YouTube channel. So I don't have a website yet. So I hope to have a website. I want to have a website for my Self-Taught Polyglot program. I want to do some documentaries, because these things that I'm talking about, I can really break them down and doing some documentaries, about them in a very beautiful and artistic way. But I'm kind of limited right now. That's why I'm not going to be able to do them for now. But I hope, I hope with the word of God, which God is not someone, God is existence. It is. I'm not gonna say what it is, but that's for next time. I hope that I'm gonna have these in the future. Okay, but we're still gonna have some wonderful conversation, productive conversation, Facebook like this, where I'm gonna spend 1 hour and 30 minutes with you guys that have been listening to me, watching me on Facebook. I'm very happy to have you on board, and you can ask me any question. I'm open to learn. You can correct me, or yeah, you can tell me, consider when an author an article. I was trying to read it. Okay, I'll do my best. Okay, thank you guys for your time, your patience, your dedication. Okay, watch this live right now, or anybody's gonna watch it on my Facebook account and Facebook page, Self-Taught Polyglot, and hopefully in my YouTube channel, where I'm going to upload this video as well. I'm going to upload it on my YouTube channel, because this YouTube channel is kind of general. I upload a lot of stuff there. So guys, thank you so much. It's really wonderful. It's really an honor for those of you who speak good English, who understand me well. Thank you so much for your time, your patience. Okay, so I'm gonna conclude now in Haitian Creole before I finish. Merci pour tout le monde qui t'a regardé. C'est un plaisir pour moi de t'ensemble aujourd'hui. Moi, c'est Ralph Valentino Jean. Comme dit, il m'expliquait en anglais déjà. Donc, ça, je suis très content de là ensemble avec nous. Tu as parlé de nos débats qui métaphysique, philosophique un petit peu et littéraire. C'est vraiment un plaisir. Donc, m'espère retrouver nous. M'espère même ouvrir un channel pour ça exactement parce que mélanger un petit peu langue, langage et puis apprentissage des langues, c'est-à-dire multilinguisme et puis métaphysique et philosophie, donc philosophie de la vie, la science, donc c'est des débats qui sont même passionnés, mais quand même l'état bon pour nous et décortiquer, départager. Donc pour le moment, on est un petit peu coincé, on n'a pas beaucoup de gadgets, on n'a pas beaucoup de matériaux électroniques pour faire les vidéos. Donc pour cela, on fait des vidéos avec des matériaux très très limités. Donc on fait ça sur Facebook et éventuellement on va avoir, j'espère, une chaîne YouTube où je vais distribuer ces vidéos de manière beaucoup plus professionnelle, avec des vidéos, avec la préparation cinématographique, esthétique, tout ça, pour vous susciter beaucoup plus je dirais, de la curiosité et autre chose. Donc, c'est un immense plaisir d'être avec vous. J'espère vous retrouver sous peu sur la page ou sur mon compte Facebook, Ralph Valentino Jean ou Self-Taught Polyglot. C'est toujours un plaisir de être là et on a appris beaucoup de choses. On a parlé de la culture, de la civilisation. On a parlé même de la Bible. On a expliqué l'importance métaphysique de la Bible, ce que c'est et la différence entre la Bible et les autres documents spirituels. Par exemple, le Coran, le Vedante, la philosophie taoïste, avec des grands auteurs, des grands qu'on appelle des mystiques, des auteurs, des poètes, etc. Donc je suis très passionné par ce travail immense qui est la spiritualité, parler de la spiritualité sur plusieurs angles et à travers plusieurs prismes, c'est très important déjà et je suis très fier et très content d'être avec vous. Je suis Ralph Valentino Jean sur YouTube, vous allez trouver Self-Taught Polyglot. Ça parle tout simplement des langues, mais j'espère pouvoir avoir une chaîne YouTube qui parle de ces choses-là même. Ok? Merci, à la prochaine. À la prochaine. Ok? Bye bye.